This is Frank Islam, Chairman and CEO of FI Investment Group, your host of Washington Calling, where we interview leading voices from business and politics that impact you, the viewer. Today, we are fortunate to have a distinguished guest who had an inspiring career, not only as a Deputy Chief of Staff of Indian Army, but also as the Vice Chancellor of Aligarh Muslim University. Welcome to our show, General Shah. Thank you for being here.
It's my pleasure, Dr. Frank Islam. Thank you very much.
So I know you had a very distinguished career. Could you share with us your experience with the United States Army? What have you learned, and what kind of things you nurture and nourish? What do you have learned as a in the Indian Army?
Well, Dr. Frank Islam, I 40 years in the Army. I joined as a very young boy of 15 and a half. The Indian Army believes in catching us young. And I got my commission when I was in my teens, 19 and a half, and then soldiered for more than 40 years. During this time, I did interact with a large number of the other forces, especially during my tenure in Saudi Arabia, where I was in close touch with the American, French, British, Chinese, and the Russian defense attaches. And I imbibed a lot from the American defense attaches. What I found was their capacity to do hard work right through. In fact, I tried to get them over for a game of golf and other things. They just had no time. They were constantly working, and I think they were doing very well. So we settled on tennis. And tennis, I was horrified when I asked, when do we play tennis? They said during the lunch break. So they are a very motivated and extremely hardworking lot. And I think they've done America proud. So as the Indian Army, I think we've done India proud. So I had most glorious 40 years in the Army, and I imbibed a lot. The
So
Army is India, right?
Army is India. That's very well to put.
Army
Uh,
is India, and it's the weapon of the last resort. And whenever the country has problems, the army is called in to sort them out.
Very good. Before I go talk about your book, which you just wrote, talks about the Sarkari Musalman. I believe that's the name of the title. It has taken a lot of, it has gotten a lot of media attention. So, and I want you to tell us how, to the audience, how did they get a copy of this book? But before I talk about the book, I wanted to uh, you to tell the audience, should they go to the Indian Army? If so, what's your message to them is?
Message to whom?
To the people who wants to join the Indian Army.
Okay, I think it is the best career option for a young Indian. The army gives a whole sphere of activities. It gives honor and I think reasonably we are well paid with a lot of privileges. The army have their separate cantonments where life is extremely good. I mean, anybody who has been to an army cantonment would vouch for the fact that they're the cleanest and the greenest parts of the city. So, if you want, now that we are a technical army, really, so it calls for technical minded people. Unlike me, I became technical after I joined. I had no other way but to become technical and learn the finer points of mathematics and calculus and everything else. It is an option. It is a wonderful career with honor and glory and a lot of respect. The army officers in all, only the officers, but defense personnel in India are the most respected, and they are really honored by the citizens of the country.
Very well said. Also, it allows the young people to give to serve their country and also to learn being a discipline. I want to talk to you about your book. Tell us a little bit about your book. Why did you write this book?
Well, see, I've had experience in four fields. I was a soldier for 40 years. I started off as a camel driver in the regiment. I joined in a camel regiment, fought the 1971 war. Then I was committed in for many, many years in countering insurgencies in North India and in Punjab. I also had the honor of commanding the forces which quelled the riots in Gujarat in 2002. Then I retired as the Deputy Chief of Army Staff, where I was responsible for the modernization and the financial management of the Army. So I learned a lot from my 40 years, but that was not the end of it. Second hat I wore was as a judge in the Armed Forces Tribunal. So we dispense justice. Now, people ask me, what is a general doing? Does he understand law? And I explained, well, I know military law, and I do know that justice is just common sense. If you apply your common sense, I think you can deliver a fair judgment. After I finished with the Armed Forces Tribunal, in fact, I had to curtail my tenure because I went to Aligarh Muslim University as the Vice Chancellor. Now, the very fact that a general was picked up by the population to head the most populous and one of the leading universities of the country shows how
Of
much
the world.
trust is reposed
Right.
in army officers. I mean, they are there to resolve a lot of things. And then after that, I thought that my experience needs to be put down in writing. I wanted to do something like passing on the knowledge which I had to the younger generation. Also, my aim was to, encourage young people to join up as in the armed forces. The career had taken a little bit of beating in the last few years because it was perceived that the civil occupations were paying better salaries. But now it is this has been corrected. So I put it all together and wrote the book.
Very well.
Of course, the title of the book uh, is a little you would say one wonders
Intriguing.
why I named it. Well, it is a catchy title. My publisher
Well,
felt it
it's
was.
also intriguing. Yeah.
It is
I
intriguing, no
want to,
doubt. Why I named Right. Why I named it the Sarkari Musalman is that people accuse me of being one. A Sarkari Musalman is a derogatory term given by the Muslim community to of their own community, generally officers who do not pander to illegitimate demands of the community. So if they come to you and ask for an illegitimate demand, they are told, look, everything has to be done according to the rules. Or they say, no point going to General Shah, he's a Sarkari Musalman. That means he's a government stooge. So this was a title which was at the back, and I named it the Sarkari Musalman.
very well said. How do the people get a copy? Is it available in Amazon?
Yes, it is available in Amazon and it's available on Flipkart. So all you have to do is
Okay.
just get into Amazon and you'll get it.
I hope I want to tell the audience go buy one of these, his book. And I had an opportunity to read it. It's a very well written, very eloquent, and the thought will be great for the new next generations of the Indians, and for that matter, for the whole world. I know you were Vice Chancellor of Aligarh Muslim University, where when I met you, you had a very distinguished career. Tell us about your experience, your accomplishment, your success story at Aligarh Muslim University.
Well, being the head of Aligarh Muslim University was the most difficult which I was assigned. I took it as a challenge because Aligarh Muslim University was one of the leading universities of the country. But because of indiscipline and lawlessness, its position had slipped. I wanted to restore the university to its former glory. In just a few months after I took over, the American ambassador, Mr. Verma, asked me, what
Mhm.
is the general doing in a university? So I told him, you should have asked General Eisenhower that question because after he demitted office as the after the Second World War. He was president of a university for 5 years. President is equivalent to a vice chancellor in India. So it only shows the amount of trust the public has in military officers. Anyway, we got down to business, and I can say with truthfully and very proudly that in the last year of my tenure in Aligarh Muslim University, we were graded by Times Higher Education London and US News and World Report as the best university of the country. Now, that is certainly a feather in the university's cap. It
It
was
is.
because of teamwork, entirely because of teamwork and the very fine research which we've done in. I'll just highlight what we did. We are deeply involved in Project Ganga and Yamuna, that was cleaning up the sacred rivers of India through a process which is does not require any energy. It is just because of plant technology. We are using just plant technology to clear the water, clean the water. It is not potable, but it is good enough for agriculture and fish breeding. Aspect which we concentrated on was nanotechnology for food, for nano fertilizers which do not pollute the environment, and preservation of fruit and vegetables without refrigeration. The third we concentrated upon was desalination of seawater, of saline water. Now there are large areas in India, especially in the desert, where the water is saline. We have, through a process of nanofilters, we've been able to perfect the technique of desalination of seawater. That would certainly be of interest to West Asia, where desalination plants are gas guzzlers, consume huge amounts of energy. But if they adopt our process, it would be very, very good and very, very economical. So, because of these reasons, because of there was no lawlessness in the university, it did not close for a single day. Academic activity continued unhindered for 5 years, and I think that was the reason why we became right on top amongst the universities of the country.
Well, one of the things you did not mention, General Shah, that you were able to nurture and nourish a relationship with this alumni, and I'm one of them. What's best in me, I owe it to Aligarh Muslim University. Its leaders have shaped the history of India and the destiny of India. So, and you were able to convince me and my wife Debbie to give $2 million to build Frank and Debbie Islam Management Complex, and after that, I gave another $500,000 to build Frank and Debbie Islam Auditorium at the Mass Communication Department at Aligarh Muslim University. And you did a lot of other things that we take a lot of pride in it, what you were able to work with the alumni, and they're all over the world. So you're spreading the words and wisdom and the values of our founder, Sayyid Ahmad Khan.
Well, Dr. Frank Islam, let me acknowledge your contribution towards your alma mater. You have, on every occasion, acknowledged what the university has done, and we are very, very proud of you. And the fact that you really opened your purse strings and gave us $2.5 million for creating the Frank and Debbie Islam College of Faculty of Management. That is something which we are all very, very. It is very, very proud. It is the best structure in the university,
Yes,
modern structure. And as I said, you have contributed immensely. When I met you, I mentioned that you've been successful with what you imbibed from AMU, and why don't you create 100 Islams? And
yes,
this management complex, the Frank and Debbie Islam Management Complex, will nurture and train hundreds of potential Frank Islams, and I'm sure that they'll do a great job. Ladies and gentlemen, we owe a lot to our alumni. They have contributed
yes,
generously. This is something I learned from my visit to American universities, where alumni are the standard bearers of modernization. Similarly, the Sayyidna contributed very generously. He gave us 1,000
yes.
computers and is restoring the old buildings. The same is a lot of others. Especially the alumni, they've given jewelry which we auctioned. So the alumni have been a source of strength for the regeneration and rebirth of Aligarh Muslim University.
Ve- Very well said. Now, why has Aligarh Muslim University often been associated with the political controversy in the last few years. Are they guided by ignorance? Are these people who create the unrest, their values and views are distorted and also desperate? Are they tearing apart the harmonious fabric of a nation that has been a beacon of hope, beacon of democracy and secularism around the globe?
Yes, Aligarh Muslim University is the epitome of Ganga Jamna Tehzeeb. That means the inclusive character of our great country. But unfortunately, it has always been in the eye of the storm. It has been a punching bag for media, especially the electronic and the print media. Anything that goes wrong, even a small amount, is blown out of proportion. The good things, like I mentioned about the quality research we are doing, is not highlighted. Because of that, Aligarh Muslim University has always had a bad press and now a bad electronic representation. Things are blown out of proportion, and people must realize that the university is contributing significantly towards the cohesion, towards the inclusive character of the country. They are contributing towards, as I mentioned, the cleaning out of the sacred rivers. Vast tracts of it have been given to the university for cleaning, and we will succeed. See, we are going to resolve the water problem. We are going to resolve the food problem. I did forget to mention that we have also harnessing solar power for automotive purposes,
Yeah.
and the next solar driven car will be the research of Aligarh Muslim University. This is going to be a great step forward.
I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, because you are the product of madrasa, and I have written several columns on madrasa. Can you tell us the role of madrasa in the 21st century and how it helps shape your own career? And they need to become a part of the 21st century workforce so they can create job and also help the next generations to be part of the global economy. So can you shed some light on it?
Yes, Dr. Frank Islam, let me tell you that I'm very proud to state that I started my education in a madrasa. When I was a little child, I would go to the family madrasa, and then I was entrusted to Christian missionaries. So I imbibed the best of the education in a madrasa and in a modern secular school. I had a soft corner, and I found that these institutions of learning, they have a wide network all over the country, but they've been unfairly demonized. The press
Yes.
has painted them as factories of terrorism, and this is very unfair criticism. Yes, I do realize that the students who are pass outs of these madrasas are ill equipped to get proper occupations. They are only taught Arabic and Urdu. I think madrasas need to diversify and become normal schools like Christian seminaries, where
Yes.
the priests are not only given education, or the clergymen are not only given education in Christianity but other religions. Plus, they do doctorates. They are given PhDs. They earn their PhDs while they are there. So we need to reform madrasas urgently. We need to give the madrasa students an opportunity to vie for proper occupations. After all, how many imams and muezzins can the country absorb? So we started. I went to the seminaries of madrasas in India and tried to meet and convince the higher ups to diversify and change. When they did not, when the bottom up approach or the top down approach did not work, we started the approach. What we did, we in Aligarh Muslim University, we started a course called the Bridge Course,
Right.
where we
Right.
train students every year, 75 boys and 25 girls. It is called the Bridge Course because it's the bridge, it is the connection between a madrasa education and modern secular education. In the Bridge Course, we give a concentrated capsule of English, computers, and social sciences. And let me tell you that we've had 100% success rate in the pass outs from the bridge course on their own merit. They have got admission in leading universities of the country through open competitive examinations in law, humanities, and you'll be surprised, some in English honors. So students have immense capability of imbibing knowledge. They only have to be shown the correct path, and the time is now. We have got to change. The madrasas have got to modernize and prepare their students for the for. I mean, it's not only religious education; it is the earn a decent bread and butter, and that is what we should look at.
Exactly. And part of the 21st century workforce and global economy. I have only 1 minute left. What's your future plan in terms of the education front that can help shape the next generation of Indians? I know you have been a spokesperson for education that empowers the mind and uplifts the soul. And education is the bridge to the future, and it's an opportunity creators. And we need to make sure that people, especially in the minority community, get a good education. How do you go about empowering them with education? Because this is the way to get them out of the poverty.
Well,
I know you had a
having
long
imbibed,
passion and commitment to education. Go ahead.
that's right. Dr. Frank Islam, I got the best education which any young person can hope for. I went to a modern secular school. I imbibed a lot. My brothers too did the same. I've always said that if you have, what we need to do is have a strong foundation. If the foundation is strong, walls be rebuilt, provided the foundation is strong. So, in pursuance of that, uh, we uh, we felt that the crying need of the minority community and the unprivileged lot needed good schooling. We started a school for refugee children in Muzaffarnagar. It is called the Sir Syed National School, Muzaffarnagar. It's in a village called Jwala, where we have got at the moment about 350 students. What is important is that it is a secular school. All children of all communities are admitted to that school, and there was initial hesitation of the majority community coming in and taking admissions, but that has been overcome, and we have got now several majority students. The press asked them, "Don't you feel fear?" They said, "No." Then they asked, "Why did you come to this school?" Well, they said, "Because it is the best school in the district." So, in the same way, we have raised two more schools. One is in Sardana, that is the in the building in which I was raised as a young child. The family decided to give it to the Sir Syed Education Foundation, and we've made a school there. The third school is in Saharanpur. We want to create or want to establish schools up to class 12 in all areas where there's a sizable minority population, and that would empower the minority students. It can be anybody, also of the majority community, empower them admission in leading institutions of higher learning. It would equip them to qualify for IIT, for IIM, for the National Defense Academy. I think that is my mission henceforth.
Thank you very much, General Shah. You mentioned your brother, Nasiruddin Shah, who happens to be an Algerian, and he went to school. I think he went by the same time that I was probably a student. What a wonderful actor he is. We owe him a sense of gratitude for what he has done for India and for that matter, and for the whole world. So thank you very much. Your family is a distinguished family. You should continue to render your services to India and to the world. And you have a lot to give, and you will be a difference maker. And thank you very much for coming. This is Frank Islam wishing you a great week, and thank you for watching.